Great to welcome in one of the busiest guys in all of the Lowcountry, Joey Rowell, the fire marshal in Hardeeville. We're going to talk Hardeeville kind of things, the fastest growing town in the state, one of the fastest in the country. And you're a native of Hardeeville. You grew up there. It wasn't that long. I mean, you had hair, but it wasn't that long ago. Hardeeville's a sleepy little town, not much going on. You kind of got off exit 5, you got gas or something to eat, or stayed in a motel and you got back on. Don't do that anymore. People live there a lot.
Absolutely. Hardeeville in the last, let's just say 10 years, probably mostly in the last 5 years, has had a growth explosion. Most of these places that are developing are there, or you seeing things pop up where it's just large timber tracts back whenever I was a kid, and now it's like, it's a lot of things happening.
Now, being in the service industry in Hardeeville, emergency services industry, the growth in that has to keep up. You guys have been busy the last few years, haven't you?
Absolutely. In the last few years, we've evolved tremendously to try to keep up with the growth, try to get ahead of the growth, and try to better serve our citizens. And with that, we've had to add stations, add personnel, add fleet, and now we've taken on a new venture of adding ambulances where we could transport folks for medical emergencies.
Talk about that, because I imagine that's quite a process to get certified to be able to do that, and then to get the hardware, and then to get the folks to get it done. Tell us a little more about that.
Absolutely. In the times that we're in right now, trying to get equipment, trying to get things takes a little bit longer than normal. But one of the things that we're trying to do is we did purchase one new ambulance, one reserve ambulance that is slightly used, and we're looking to add more to our fleet with those. But with the ambulances, we've sent folks for training to get their paramedic skills. We've recruited some folks for that, and we're going through all the processes now through the state, through some of the federal things that we have to do, and probably, knock on wood, hopefully in the next couple months we'll have all our I's dotted, T's crossed to where we'll be able to launch that program.
That's terrific. You talked about trying to keep up with the growth and being ahead of the curve or behind the curve, or where do you see Hardeeville Fire, at least, being on that curve? Are you staying ahead of it, or are you catching up?
We're doing both. It's one of those things. We just recently improved our ISO classification from a Class 3 to a Class 2, with 1 being the best. We just
ISO for us laymen.
Insurance services offices, and it ranks your insurance, 1 being the best, 10 being the hardest or the worst, if you want to, for lack of better terms. We're a 2 on that scale. We're kind of in the area which is kind of
now, does that help people's insurance rates when you guys are rated higher?
It does, and it actually does cost savings for those. Industrial, commercial, it really saves them more than residential, but it does give everyone a better bang for their buck.
Always helps, that's for sure. Looking ahead, you talk about getting the certifications and dotting the I's and crossing the T's. How much longer until you think you've got it where you want it before the next set of growth?
Well, we're evolving every day because we're so great in land mass, and we've got so many places that are planning their communities in different areas. It does take us a little bit to get ahead of the curve, but we're constantly planning. We're constantly looking at where this is going to where we can better serve those areas.
And with all that land that they're developing on comes at least a little room for you guys to be flexible in where you put stations and where you deploy your resources.
Correct. We've kind of strategically worked with the landowners and developers to try to get a centralized location to where it both serves them and as well as other assets in the city as well.
Okay, I'm going to ask one out of left field here. When it's hurricane time, and we all here on the island and the folks in Bluffton, head west. We usually head way west. Are we going to be able to not have to go as far as Hardeeville grows and as the services and maybe the infrastructure of Hardeeville increases? Maybe not have to go as far?
in the
Or am I
current
dreaming?
in the current plans now, we don't really have any hardened buildings in downtown Hardeeville, but in the future we will. The shelter is located in Ridgeland,
Right.
that part of the county. But for folks that are maybe wanting to stop off, in my personal belief, there will be in a time that will come here.
All right. Well, we wish for that for sure. Hey, I appreciate the time. Thanks for coming in and joining us. Joey Rowell, the Fire Marshal of Hardeeville, talking Hardeeville growth here on the WHHI Daily News. We'll be back with more right after this.